Hey, who are you filming? Sam or me? Sam? Sam there? Saturday. Mama, can you have a cuddle? You didn't cuddle first. Daddy, can I film me? Daddy, why? Please, please, Daddy. Please, can you film me?
Yeah.
What? Can I film me? Daddy, please, can I film me? Please can I film me? Please can I film me? Daddy. Please can I film me? Daddy, please.
Stop him from seeing his forward after. So why is there a dilemma? Why are we here today?
Look, Daddy. Look at Sam. Mummy! Mummy!
She's telling him basically.
Mummy!
She's telling him basically that if he doesn't split up with me, then she's not.
I got ya!
But
between you two is not only the fact you both slept in the same
Daddy,
place,
I'll take the photo of the room.
my research about meeting. You told my research that this lady, whilst with Gary, was sleeping with Terry behind Gary's back.
What was it? It's very recorded, Janet. You're a bit into it, right? We've got letters. We've got
That's right.
Right, when that comes out, nobody will tell you the truth, right? You was caught out doing it. You was caught going with him.
So ladies, the question is this actually about access to unfortunate
Ăn dứa món này. Hai cô về người về. Đây này. Ôi sao ốc phèo rồi cô về.
Eccomi.
어머머. 어머머.
콩들이다.
너 너무 커. Is that all you got? Why did you have some? Why did you have some? Why do you have some in your coat pocket? Daddy, did you have some in your coat pocket? What did the goats do?
Mum.
Look at those darling girls like baby stick out because look at it. Can I feel something? Dada. When the carriage over there, there's no screen on it. Liz, it's a good job that it's not raining in here, isn't it? Can I sit over there because it's not... Can. I can see train. It's going backwards because it's at the back. I want to go on again.
Because that's the best bit, you know. Have you ever been down a slippery slope in a car straight into water? It's not something you want to do, really. Not unless you've got an amphibious vehicle. Now, if you look to your left, that water that we splash into, that's called the salt house dock. And that got its name from a salt refinery that used to be on the side of the dock. I believe we've got a school party from Ireland on board, haven't we? Yeah, he's from Ireland, yeah. You going home tonight? Are you looking forward to that? No, they want to stay here.
Are you ready for it?
Now, did you all know that Liverpool had a castle in the 12th century? King John used to live in our castle, and it was demolished in 1726. And see this dock on the left here? This is called the Canning Dock. And when we demolished the castle, the stone from the castle was used to make this dock. And we're going to turn left in a moment into a street called... In the left-hand corner of the dock, see this white building here? This is going to be Liverpool's new museum. It's going to be called the Museum of Liverpool Life. And if you look past the museum on your left, that's where the Mersey Ferry Terminal is. See that white building there? So that's where, if you want to get a ferry across the Mersey, that's where you get it. Now can we all see the red and white striped building ahead of us? Well, that building is called Albion House. And it used to be the headquarters of the White Star Shipping Line. Now the White Star Shipping Line were very proud of their ships, and they even said one of them couldn't sink. Anyone remember the name of that ship? Titanic, that's right. Now Titanic had Liverpool written on the back, didn't he? Do you know why it had Liverpool written on the back? No, it wasn't made, it was made in Belfast. It had Liverpool written on the back because it was registered in that building. That was the head office of the company. And all of White Star ships had Liverpool written on the back because they were registered here. But only the back end of one became famous, didn't it? Because they made films about it. Well, it was made in Harlem and Wolff at Belfast, and it sailed from Southampton on its maiden voyage and tragically struck an iceberg. Now, on this street, what we're going up now is called James Street, and it's quite a steep hill. And when Liverpool was first founded, it used to only have 6 streets, and this was one of them. But it wasn't called James Street then, it was called Castle Hill. And that's because we had a castle at the top of the hill. I've already showed you what Liverpool Castle looks like now. It's been recycled into a dock. But if you look to your right now, you'll see a statue of Queen Victoria. And behind Queen Victoria are the Queen Elizabeth forecourts. And they are built on the site of Liverpool's original castle. Now this street's called Lord Street, and this is one of the entrances to our Liverpool One shopping complex. Have you ever visited that shopping complex at all? Yeah, did you go there? A lot of shops, 140 stores in that complex. Have we got any Beatles fans on board? No, have we got 2? Yeah, 3, 4? Okay. Well, when we turn left, on the right is a Beatles hotel. It's called a Hard Day's Night Hotel. And there are 3 European flags outside the hotel and 4 statues of the lads that shook the world. There was John, Paul, George, and who's that other fella who won't sign autographs anymore? What's his name? Ringo. There's the hotel on the right. Can you see the 4 statues of the lads? Well, the hotel is on the corner of Matthew Street, and that's where it all began for the Beatles. Now this street's called Victoria Street, and this was named after Queen Victoria. And this is where all the money was kept in Liverpool. This is where all the big banks had their head offices. And during the war, this is where all the country's gold was kept in this street as well. In case we lost the war, it could get on a ship quickly to Canada and take our money somewhere else. That was what the whole idea was. Now if you look to your left at the traffic lights, you see a hotel called the Sir Thomas Hotel. Can anybody tell me what that building used to be? Have a look at it, you might get a clue. If you look above the main door, it tells you what it used to be. It used to be the Bank of Liverpool. They're not even interested, are they? Not even looking. Must be too late in the day. Did you see it, yeah? Right, at the lights, this building on the right is called the Conservation Centre. Does anybody know what goes on in the Conservation Centre? Well, normally somebody says by now, conservation. So you're all a bit slow today. What happens in that building is, works of art get brought from all over the country and they get restored to their natural beauty in that building. And one thing about Liverpool's museums and galleries, they're all free to enter. We don't charge admission to any of them. And if you happen to call in on a day when something interesting is being restored, they actually let you watch how they do it. Not a secret. Now if you look straight ahead, you see a building with a dome on top. And that dome is the Picton Reading Room. It's on top of the William Brown Library. On the left of that is the Liverpool World Museum. That's the largest museum in the country and the only museum with a free planetarium. It's got a free aquarium too. Next door to that is the William Brown Reading Room. And next door to that again is the Walker Art Gallery. They're all free to enter. Now on the left, these gardens are called St. John's Gardens. And they got the name from a Gothic style church that used to sit at the top of the hill. It was demolished in 1899. And when it was demolished, it left us with the back view of St. George's Hall, which isn't the best view of it at all. Looks better from the front. You might get a quick chance of the lights to see it. This is one of Prince Charles's favourite buildings. It's the finest example of neoclassical architecture in this country. No, I wouldn't charge it. Can you see it? Oh, that's what you call a television screen, isn't it? Wait till you see the size of the remote control for that. It's as big as a transit van. Now on the left is Liverpool's Lime Street Station, but you're all watching the big television, aren't you? Waste of me time here, aren't I? I think I'll get up and go for a pint. Has anybody ever done the YMCA on the dance floor? I knew you would have done that one. Well, the second largest YMCA building in the country is up here on the right. Well, you've got to sing YMCA when you go past it. Can you all see it on the right here? That used to be the second largest in this country. Can you all see the yellow door on the right, number 64? Well, in the 1960s, that used to be a registry office. And one afternoon in 1962, that's where John Lennon married his first wife, Cynthia. Has anybody heard of Harley Street in London? No? Well, it's famous for doctors, dentists and surgeons. And Liverpool's got its own Harley Street. It's here, it's called Rodney Street. And if you get sent to see a specialist in this city, unless you meet them at a major hospital, that's where you'll see them, in Rodney Street. Does anybody know that we had two cathedrals in Liverpool? Yeah? Well, we have. And there are opposite ends of the same street, and it's called Hope Street. And I hope you're all listening, because we're going to ask you questions after. See the face there. If you look to your left, you'll see the Metropolitan Cathedral. This opened its doors in 1963 to the public, and it's locally nicknamed Paddy's Wigwam because of its unusual shape. There's something unusual about this cathedral. Can you all see it? Traditionally, a cathedral or a church will have the bells in a tower at the top. But if you look at the top of this one, it's got the largest stained glass structure in Europe. And if the bells were there, the vibration from the bells would have damaged the glass. So the bells are on a separate tower in the front, and they're called Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. Now at the other end of Hope Street, you can already see the tip of our Anglican Cathedral. That's because it's the largest in the country, and it towers above all the other buildings. Now, if you look to the left, you'll see a pub, the Philharmonic Hall, sorry. I'm thinking about pubs now. That's home to our Philharmonic Orchestra. I bet you've all seen Sherlock Holmes, or the Forsyte Saga, or recently a Hovis advert that goes on forever. Well, it was all filmed in this one street here. It's called Falkland Street. And it's a Victorian cobbled terrace, as it was in 1800. Could you all see these suitcases on the floor? If you came over on Ryanair, that's where your lost luggage ends up there. I'm only kidding, it isn't. Those suitcases are on the floor outside Liverpool Art College. And each one of those suitcases has got the name of a famous Liverpool person who attended the art college. Has anyone heard of the Fame Academy in America, where they do dance, drama and music? Well, on this building on the right here is the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts, and that's where we teach dance, drama and music, and that was dedicated to Liverpool by Sir Paul McCartney. If you look to your left now, you'll see the Anglican Cathedral. This is the largest in this country. It's the largest Anglican cathedral in Europe and the 5th largest in the whole world.
Everybody okay? I said, is everybody okay? Yeah! That's better. You had me worried for a minute then. Right, we're going to go in the water now, and as you can see, we have got a little bit of life-saving equipment on board. You've got all your life jackets above your heads. There's one for everyone on board. And we've got 4 flotation rings right round the vessel, one on the front, 2 on the side and 1 on the back. So we've got loads of life-saving equipment should anybody decide to jump in, or fall in for that matter. What we're going to do, we're going to pull over there on the pavement, on the ramp, and we're going to sound the horn, and Pat's going to count to 3, and we're going to let off the biggest scream the Albert Doc's ever heard, as loud as you can. Now we expect you kids to do this. The kids are always the best at screaming, aren't they? What I want you to do, I want you to sit well back in your seats when we go down the ramp. Hold on tight till we hit the water, and then you can relax. Once we're in the water, you can have a little walk around, stretch your legs, but don't block the aisle up too much, because Pat's going to bring the duty-free trolley round when we're about a mile out. Now there's no rum, whiskey or vodka left, because he drank it last night with his mates. We've got some Pringles, salt and vinegar crisp. Oh, we can't have them now, they've got fat in them now, 35% fat. So there's a little bit, but anyway, we'll get going now, so don't forget the big scream as we go in, alright?
The biggest scream!
Right.
The scream!
If anyone's got a camera, this is a great shot to get as we go down this ramp. I hope it's something I hope that you never see again, unless you're on one of these. It's definitely not recommended in your own car. Wouldn't mind seeing one of them. On 3 kids, I'll tell you when to scream, okay? No one's going to shout at you, you make as much noise as you like. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Well, I think you should give yourself a round of applause for that scream. That was the best scream we've had all day, that. And we've got more kids on than this. We had a bigger party before. Did everybody get down the ramp safely? Everybody okay? Did anybody get a picture of it? Did you video it? Yeah. It's something you hope not to see in your wildest dreams, isn't it? Okay, you're not on a bus anymore now. When we come down that ramp, we disengage the road wheels and we engage a 21-inch propeller. And that's what pushes us along the water. I'll tell you a little bit about the boat that you're on. These were built in 1942 in a place in America called Detroit. They were built for a one-off special mission, and that mission was the D-Day landings at Dunkirk on the 6th of June 1944. Now the one you're sitting on actually landed. Oh no, don't do that, mate. Just sit on your seat properly. The higher you go, the more chance of you falling in, so stay low. Because I don't want to be getting in there after you. I'm going out tonight. Yeah, this one successfully landed on Gold Beach where all the British troops landed. And a bit further up the coast there was another beach called Omaha Beach, and that's where the American troops landed. So you are sitting on a piece of history, and they were rescued from different places around the world to be put into service. They were supposed to last about a month, and 68 years later they're still doing what they were supposed to do. Every day in and out of salt water. Now the dock we splashed into, I told you earlier, it was called the Salt House Dock. This part we're in now is called the Wapping Basin. And this is a man-made basin, and its purpose was to link the North and South docks together. Also to provide access to the private docks. We're going into the Albert Dock a bit later, and that's the most famous one. But on your right in a moment you see a very small dock. It's a narrow dock called the Duke's Dock. Now the Duke's Dock was owned by the Duke of Bridgewater, and he used to bring all his cargo for export down the canal system by barge. The Bridgewater Canal runs right through Cheshire until it meets the Liverpool-Leeds Canal further down the road there, and then they brought the cargo by barge along this way. Now as we pass under this bridge, if you all look to your right underneath the bridge, you'll see some unusual chains. Now these chains have got a length of chain and then a circle, then another length of chain and a circle, and that's where we hang naughty kids out to feed the crocodiles. We just stick one leg in that loop and the crocodile comes along and snaps them off. And if you really think that I was telling the truth then you're wrong. I was only messing. We don't really do that. We feed the kids to the sharks and then the crocodiles eat the sharks. See those chains? They were called man chains, and they were a very early Victorian life-saving device. And the idea and the thinking behind them was if you fell in the water, you put your foot in one of those circles and your arm in another, that would support your body weight if somebody rescued you. Because in cold water, trying to support your body weight, you get tired very quickly, get exhausted, probably drown. Now then, if you've got a family of swans living on this dock, can you see them on the left there? Swans. Who knows what a swan looks like? Nobody. I know what a swan looks like. Can you see our swans? Over there. Anybody know why swans fly south for the winter? No, it's too far to walk. Oh, this is the Wapping Dock. And the Wapping Dock, apart from being somewhere our swans live in, do you know what they're doing now? They're trying to catch up to us to get any butties that you might be throwing in the water before the seagulls get them. They do come after us looking for food. You see them apartments on the left with the sun on them? Well, they look very nice and they'd cost you a pretty penny. They were built in 1855 and they weren't apartments then, they were warehouses. But they were not just any old warehouses, they were a new design by a man called Jesse Hartley, who was the chief engineer for the port of Liverpool. And they were revolutionary in the design because they were built from brick and iron. No wood was used at all, and they were fireproof. You couldn't set them on fire. Anybody got anything to feed the swans? No? Yeah, you like donuts. Have you got donuts? do you like the middle of donuts? Oh, I think we've lost them now. No, miles away now. You take yourself, babe. Who knows what the highest point in Liverpool is? The highest point is right in the middle of your screen there. You see a very tall building with it's got a yellow helicopter on the roof. Can you all see it? Well, that building is called Beetham West Tower, and officially that is the highest point in Liverpool. It's 43 floors high, and on the 34th floor is a restaurant called the Panorama Restaurant. And that restaurant has got an unusual feature. On the 34th floor, there aren't any solid walls. All the way around it's reinforced glass. So no matter where you sit, you get a panoramic view of some parts of Liverpool. And when that restaurant opened, it wasn't very busy for the first 12 months because nobody knew it was there. They didn't advertise it. But word's got round now, and now the list is about 18 months to get a table there. That's how long the list is. And that's because, it's not just because it's suddenly become popular for food, it is the most popular place to be proposed to at the moment. The popular press are always reporting someone's being proposed to in that building, and it's become the in place to do it. You've got breathtaking scenery, memorable sights, and then you'll regret the next bit for the rest of your life. But it has become the most popular place to propose or be proposed to. And that yellow helicopter on the roof, by the way, it's not a helicopter. It looks like one, and it's been designed to look like one, but it's not. It's a window cleaning device. It's a window cleaning device. Well, with all tall buildings now, they have to have a device on the roof that revolves right round the roof to any point and drops a steel cage to each window so they can clean the windows. So that's what it does. It's a window cleaning device. When the buildings are lower, you can see what it is. But when they're so high, you can get away with disguising it to make it look like anything you want. And that looks like a helicopter. Now when we clear this bridge, we've got a nice clear blue sky, and you'll be able to look at the lava beds on top of the lava building. Can you all see them? How tall would you say those lava beds are? How tall would you say they were? The lava beds there on top of the buildings. They are 18 foot tall, which is 4 foot taller than a double-decker bus. There. See those two buildings? There's a lava bed on each one. One looks into the city and one looks out to sea. Yeah. Well, those beds are 18 foot tall. And they're made of solid copper. And when you let copper to the weather, what colour does it go? It goes green. That's right. And that's why those beds are green in colour. Can you all see the clock face as well? That clock face is the largest in Europe. It's 2.5 foot in diameter, wider than Big Ben. And it's actually Big Ben's big brother. It's called George. It was made by the same engineering company that made Big Ben, and it was the last one in the family. That's why it's the largest one. Now we're going to go into the Albert Dock in a moment, but just before we do, if you look to your left, you can see the Echo Arena. That is Liverpool's 10,000 seat purpose-built stadium for pop concerts, outdoor sporting events and other public gatherings. Anyone hear the Girls Aloud? Well, Girls Aloud were on there the night before last. Anyone heard of Eric Clapton? He was on the night before. So we've had quite a few stars on our Echo Arena already. I believe Madonna's coming up there a bit later in the year, so those will be a few people queuing up for that one, won't there? Can anyone read Roman numbers? Can ya? Okay, here's your chance. Underneath the bridge, on the wall, both sides, it's marked in Roman numbers. Can you tell me how deep the water is today? How deep it is, yeah? Well, I'll tell you, shall I? It's 21 foot, dead right. Louder. Oh, keep going, otherwise we'll slip back in the water and we'll never get out there. Come on, you've got to sing louder, it's going backwards. Louder. That's it. Keep going, louder. Louder. Come on, you've got to go backwards. Only a bit more, we're nearly there now. Just louder, we're nearly there. Well done, kids. I think you should give yourselves a clap. That was great singing. That got us out of the water, no problem.
Safe now.